Wow. In 1997, audiences around the world were given a huge summer surprise underneath their theater Christmas tree. And that surprise went a little something like this. We are the Men in Black. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, I forgot the words. Men in Black hit theaters summer of 1997. And it was a phenomenally huge success. Audiences everywhere like myself loved that movie. And so, we were excited a few years later when we got Men in Black 2. And I was disappointed, but hopeful. Then several years after that, we got Men in Black 3, still with Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones, but this time James Brolin, who did a really, really good job of being Tommy Lee Jones. But we were disappointed. I was. And now we have 2019, Chris Hemsworth, Tessa Thompson, directed by F. Gary Gray, who was phenomenally awesome when he directed Straight Outta Compton, The Italian Job, and many others that he's done. And we were given garbage. That's right, garbage. I don't say that about too many movies. I was warned about it before I went in. Thank goodness I'm an A-list member on AMC, and I got the movie for free anyways. But man alive, I wish I had one of those neuralizers that they have, and I was able to erase my memory and then have my wife tell me, oh yeah, you saw it, and it was just okay. Because then I wouldn't have to see it or remember it. That's why I have this lazy suit on. Because this movie was put together in a lazy fashion. You know what? No. It doesn't even deserve the jacket. I'm going to keep the tie. Because it's a good tie. But it's not going to be tied. That's the message I'm sending to the producers of this movie. Let's get into it.
Here we go.
Boy Reviews! In all of my reviews, I have kept a level head. I have been positive, and I'll still keep my level head. I'm not going to start screaming for effect to the camera. But I am rather disgusted with this movie. It is garbage. There's a grade. I'm going to give it to you right now. D-. D-. It did not get an F. I'll talk about that in just a few minutes why. But this review is not really going to be about the highlights and the pros and cons of this movie. This review is going to be a bashing of all the things that I thought about when I watched this movie, and I was texting to myself quite a bit throughout the movie, which I never do, because I'm usually enthralled by at least a story that's going on. But I texted myself 4 different texts of information about things that I was rather confused about. Now, Men in Black International has been sold to us as a below par film. 20%, something like that on Rotten Tomatoes, I believe. And the reviews did not lie to me. This movie is no good. The only reason why it's not an F, I'll start with the positive. How about that? The only reason it's not an F is because Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson, remember I'm saying this, they both were great. Their chemistry was great, especially Tessa Thompson. She is a great actress. She has a lot of charisma. She is very likable on the screen. And I'm not just talking about her beauty, which she has that. She is very, very likable. I hope to see her in many more things in the future because everything I've seen her in so far, she does a phenomenal job. And Chris Hemsworth, I didn't include him in that conversation with her because not everything he does have I enjoyed. But he has charisma, obviously. And I don't believe he's just tapping into the Thor character in this movie. I believe he makes it a little bit more his own, even though there are still some Thor that you see as you watch this movie. But besides those two actors, besides their ability to put a smile on my face and to help me along this tragedy of a story, everything else was garbage. The things that they were supposed to do was garbage. So when I make fun of the characters, which I'm going to in a few minutes, it's not anything personal to those actors because I believe they did the best that they could. I believe they did the best they could to save this movie. But man, this was garbage. So let me go and give you my list of my several different reasons, things I was confused about. And maybe in the comment section, some of you can answer these questions. If you loved this movie, you can answer these questions for me because either I didn't pay attention enough because I didn't care, or I was just super confused and no one knows the answer. But here are the several different things I was confused about and I hated about this movie. Let me start off. I got my Marvel and my DC newest background. It's beautiful. Okay? Father's Day presents, thank you very much. I don't know why these characters, the Men in Black main characters, acted like superheroes, because they are not superheroes. In no way they tell us that they have superhuman powers, because they don't. But they constantly do things even more above and beyond most movies where we go, okay, I can buy that. They'll still get up after they fell 10 flights of stairs or whatever. But this movie, they treated these characters like they are superheroes. They were able to do amazing things. I'm not talking about flying or lasers out of the eyes, but they're not superheroes. And the only way I can believe any of this to be believable as far as them recovering and continuing to move on in the movie is to believe that they're superheroes, which they're not. This is going to be full of spoilers, just so you know. And trust me, you're not losing out by not watching. Just listen to my things that I hated about it, and you'll be caught up. At the beginning of the movie, we have Tessa Thompson's character. I don't even remember her name. I know her Men in Black name is M, so that's what I'll call her. Okay? M. I think it was Molly, actually, but who cares? M. At the beginning of the movie, her parents think there's a raccoon or something going around in the kitchen or the backyard. Turns out to be an alien. Men in Black at that time come 20 years ago from when this movie starts off. And they do the little nebulizer memory wipe. M upstairs turns her head so she doesn't see it. She meets a new alien. And that's all we get about that alien, by the way, until the very, very end. But she does not get her memory wiped. She remembers about these alien cops and the Men in Black. And just from that one small encounter, we're supposed to believe that she, when she does meet the Men in Black later on, that she is an expert. She knows everything about them, to where she convinces them to allow her to join. But at that time, the laziest Men in Black in the world, I'm supposed to believe that this organization is so secretive, that no one knows, that they're so good with their nebulizers, that when they ask the parents, is there anyone else at home? And the parents say, oh yeah, our daughter's upstairs. And they say, but don't worry, she's asleep. They say, okay, we buy that. Boom, memory wipe. Let's get out of here. You're not going to double check. You're not going to say, oh, well, we need to go up there, or just go in there and then nebulize them afterwards. They're not going to remember anyways. But you're telling me they're not going to double check? And when an alien's on the loose, they're not going to double check the safety of that kid upstairs? You got to be kidding me. And not just that, but they memory wiped the parents. They took away their memory, and the parents didn't see anything. They saw nothing. The agents could have said, oh, yeah, we're Homeland Security, and we're chasing down these rogue raccoons. But no, they memory wiped. They're too happy with that memory wipe nebulizer, but not for the people upstairs that actually saw something. Give me a break. All right, so let's go into Men in Black warehouse where they operate. All right? We're supposed to believe, because they all have a letter for their name, we're supposed to believe that there's only 26 agents of all time, even though they introduce us to different places that also have Men in Black headquarters, like London and many other places we're supposed to believe, probably Paris and whatever. You're telling me there's only 26 total agents in the entire world that are the Men in Black. Because every time I looked around in this movie, at least, I saw agent after agent after agent after agent. And I get there's going to be some pencil pushers. There's going to be some office workers. But a lot of those people were agents. And there's a whole lot more than 26 of them. And not just that, but like I said, our main character, we'll say her name was Molly. She got the agent name, code name M. M for Molly. Okay, it makes sense. That's usually how it works. But her name was M. Are you telling me there's no one else with the letter M already in the Men in Black? I mean, it's the first letter in the name, for crying out loud. Men in Black, M. You're telling me that they just had M lying around? This person they were not trying to recruit? This person that they did not have an M retire, and so, hey, works out? M stands for Michael as well. Probably the most popular name of all time. You're telling me there was an M available? I envision that they recruit this girl, even though she recruited herself, and then the real Agent M, was he given his pink slip? Sorry, buddy, but she's more exciting. She's younger. Your pay scale's too high. You're out of here because we got a new M. Okay? How come we didn't see that guy with his stuff packing up all just shoveled? Oh, this is ridiculous. There's an M available. And not just that, but if you remember, who was the original M in Men in Black 2? I'm a fan of his music. I love his music, but you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. That was the last Agent M, and you're going to reuse that same letter? There's 25 other letters in the alphabet. I can believe if it was Agent Q or Agent I or Agent Z or Agent X. But you're telling me M was available? You're telling me there's only 25 other agents, and thank goodness, because we still had M available, that she's here? And talking about M, again, the character, not Tessa Thompson, she's awesome. The character stunk. She really did. The background and the information, I don't buy any of it. Agent M is the most incredible character of all time. She knows how to fix futuristic space alien technology in the Sahara Desert with no tools. She knows how to fix it, no problem. She doesn't even have her phone and Google or anything like that. She just knows how to fix it. It just takes some time. Are you kidding me? She knows the procedures of the Men in Black. She knows about different alien species. She knows all this stuff about aliens and space, and the only explanation we get is when she's 9 years old or whatever, and she's got a book about space on her belly. She fell asleep. She was reading it earlier. I mean, this girl knows everything. She knows everything, and I understand that movies are fictional, that there's a lot of unbelievable plot points in a lot of movies that I love and I've reviewed before. But when I get like 50 of them, that's when I can't buy any of them. Okay, you give me 49, I might be able to buy the movie. But this movie was ridiculous. She could do everything. She had, I think, 1 week of Men in Black training, and she was phenomenal. She was probably going to be Employee of the Month after this movie was over in that company. She was phenomenal, and she had 1 week of training. 1 week. And we didn't even see what that training was. How do I buy into a character that is unbelievable, super amazing, when you give me no reason to besides a book when she's 9 years old? Okay? A book when she's 9 years old. She is unbelievable. Let's talk about Agent H. Hemsworth, right? This is Chris Hemsworth's character, Agent H. I don't understand this character too much. Besides, he's a good-looking guy. They mentioned that several times in the movie. And even aliens are in love with him, not just human beings. But this guy's character stinks as an agent. He stinks. He is really, really bad. But he's mentioned several times throughout the movie as, this is our best agent. This guy is phenomenal. And then several more times in the movie they mention about how he's had a really bad string of luck. How they've really missed the old Agent H because the new Agent H stinks. But he's also considered the best agent they have. And then at the end of the movie, when the person, High T, in London, the main person in the Men in Black, their boss, when his job becomes available, who do they look to? Obviously, right? There's only 26 agents in London, 13, 12, 10, whatever it is. Who do they look to? Agent H, who finally did something right because in the last 3 or 4 years, he had done nothing but wrong. And he's the most logical explanation. And then the guy who he's fighting with throughout the entire movie, another fellow agent or one that wants to be an agent, who seems to be pretty capable and pretty smart and knows everything about the business, he signs off on Agent H. And they've been fighting the whole time and he can't stand him, but now he can because the plot makes it convenient. I don't buy it. Just like everything else in this movie, I don't buy. There was a time when I was maybe 7 or 8 years old, probably more like 13 or 14, where I thought that the mole plot point, there's a mole in the company, we got to figure out who it is. I thought that was interesting. I'm 36 now. I don't think it's interesting, and that is the main focus of the plot in this movie. There's a mole. Who's it going to be? Because the problem with that is if you really want to pull that off in a movie or in some kind of visual story like a TV show, you have to introduce to us at least half a dozen characters so that we, the audience, are trying to figure out who do we think the mole is instead of making it super obvious. But the mole plot, can we please move away from it? Can we just get away from it? I believe there's a TV show called The Mole, and it lasted 2 episodes. Let's learn from that, people. Let's move on, and let's think of something better. There is the villain, Riza, whatever her name is. we are supposed to believe that she's super awesome and she's super great and she had this relationship with Agent H way back in the past. Played by Rebecca Ferguson, who is awesome in the Mission Impossible movies. I loved her in The Greatest Showman. She's done a great job with her career. She was horrible in this movie. Absolutely horrible, and I'm not sure if it was her acting or it was the worst wig of all time that they gave her. The only way that wig is passable is if there's some kind of joke at the end that says, oh yeah, it's a fake wig and she's got horrible alien hair or something. Because I believe she's an alien. She got 3 arms. She's an alien. That wig was horrible. How did whoever was on set, the production team, the costume, whoever those people are, how did they say, yeah, this wig is awesome? And the wig kept moving. I mean, it kept moving. That's why I thought eventually they're going to rip it off and it was going to be like a Lex Luthor type thing. The wig was horrible. It totally took me out of the movie whenever she was there. And she was a completely pointless character. She is fighting with M at one point, a serious, epic fight back and forth. And then the fight ends because the plot wants it to end, but we have no reason why it ends. But the fight ends with Riza on her back. She just got flipped over by M, wrestling move. Oh, my back hurts, I can't get up. And then 2 seconds later, she's up with a gun in her hand. What was the point of that fight? This is what I'm talking about with this movie. So much pointless stuff throughout the movie. So much pointless stuff. Can't even keep track of it. Let me end on this point. When a movie fails so horrendously like this one did, there's about 3 different people you can blame. Okay? There's the director. And like we talked about, F. Gary Gray was the director. I read an article that talked about all the problems in production of this movie. He wanted to walk out 1 or more times. He just wanted to leave. He just couldn't handle it. That tells me it's probably not his fault. He knows it's garbage. But they convinced him. They said, please come back. Let's just finish it off. This is going to be the best for everyone. And he, to me, seems like a complete professional. I don't blame him. I'm giving him a pass. There is the producers who, in this case, I can't remember the guy's name. Read about it. He seems like he was largely to blame, 100%. When you have producers and you have the studio and they're in the pot and they're mixing different things and they're taking out these key ingredients and putting in garbage ingredients and the salad smells disgusting, they say, yeah, let's send that out and make money off it. What are they doing? You hired the director, you hired the writers, you hired these people to make you a product. You didn't hire yourself as the director, so stay out of the way. Producers here destroyed this movie, in my opinion. And then the third person to blame, those are the screenwriters. And in this case, the dialogue was pretty bad. The story was completely boring. And when I went on IMDb and I looked at who were the screenwriters, what other movies have they done? Because sometimes screenwriters, they don't have the best movies, and then they have the best. For example, the 2 guys, I can't think of your name, sorry about that. The 2 guys that wrote the screenplay for Thor 2. Probably by most people who love the Marvel films, Thor 2 is probably their least favorite. It's just not a very good, enjoyable film. There's good elements, but not a good film. It's really not. Those same writers, they went on to write the screenplay together for Infinity Wars and for Endgame. Okay, we give you a pass. And then we start looking at Thor 2 and saying, well, it's not so bad. At least there's chemistry between Loki and Thor. Okay, we give them a pass because they do greatness. Greatness. Let's look at the screenwriters for Men in Black International. One of their first and their strongest they've done, what movie they've written the screenplay for? Iron Man, the first one. They wrote the screenplay for Iron Man that is still one of the best MCU movies. Dialogue is awesome. The story is interesting enough. The characters are wonderfully fleshed out. The action is great. That screenplay is phenomenal. They did a great job there. But then I looked at the last movie they did a screenplay for, and I almost laughed out loud. They wrote the screenplay for my least favorite movie of all time. I've mentioned it half a dozen times right on this channel. Transformers Last Night. They wrote that movie. I wish I would have known that before I went and saw it. Well, no, I still would have watched it because free movie ticket. But that explains everything to me. And again, the producers may have messed up their script. There's reports that the producers were rewriting stuff the day of the shoot. But this movie is still really bad. Transformers The Last Night, and you follow that up with Men in Black International. Say goodbye to the career, because I think Marvel's okay without you right now. Let me calm down a little bit. Let me take this off because I've worn enough for this review. Men in Black International, I do not recommend it. Maybe for a red box, for a few laughs, if you want to go to sleep easier when you get home from work, a long day, in a few months when it comes out, it's $2. Check it out. I wouldn't take my family to go see it unless you're an A-list member like myself. It doesn't cost you anything. But it is a complete disappointment. I truly hope that the franchise is dead. I don't wish ill on any franchise, but we've gotten 3 horrible sequels, and I do believe the third one is better than the second one, but this one is the worst by far. And I don't even believe Will Smith and his charisma will save it, because we had him in 2 and 3, and those movies weren't great. Please let me know what you think. Please let me know if I'm being too harsh. Everything I do is meant with love, but I got to be honest with you guys, and the things that were confusing me were all throughout. And I just had to share this with you. I hope you guys all have a wonderful weekend. And until next time, adios.